A potential historic deal is reportedly in the works between Washington and Riyadh that would reportedly include normalization between Israel and Saudi Arabia. Top Biden aides were sent to Riyadh to advance a potential comprehensive package of major agreements with the U.S. More in this report from ILTV's Steve Leibovich.
The United States is working on an historic comprehensive agreement with Saudi Arabia. The main components of the proposal would include a massive security pact between Washington and Riyadh. The proposed normalization between Israel and Saudi Arabia would reportedly include a commitment from Jerusalem to commit to never annex Judea and Samaria, halt new construction, transfer parts of Area C to the Palestinians, and reopen talks on a two-state solution. Prime Minister Netanyahu related to a potential normalization deal with the Saudis and U.S.-Israel cooperation.
We're working on things that I think will change history. Specifically, we're trying to block Iran's aggression, but also advance peace with Saudi Arabia, which in addition to the historic Abraham Accords with 4 Arab countries is changing the Middle East. And I think this will change the world. I think this will be a pivot of history.
National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan and White House Middle East czar Brett McGurk were reportedly dispatched to discuss terms of the deal. Sullivan is reportedly negotiating directly with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Riyadh is seeking a NATO-like mutual security treaty that would obligate the U.S. to come to its defense if attacked, a civilian nuclear program monitored and backed by the U.S., and the ability to purchase more advanced weaponry from Washington. In exchange for a China rollback, help in ending the civil war in Yemen, and normalization with Israel, the U.S. is also looking for Riyadh to offer a massive aid package to Palestinian institutions in Judea and Samaria.
Experience the power of truth with ILTV News. If you're looking for quality content and captivating visuals, join our news community and become an integral part of our team as we embark on a mission to unveil the real Israel, dismantling the web of lies and misinformation that surround reporting on Israel. By subscribing to ILTV News, you will not only have access to the latest updates, but you will also amplify our message, creating a ripple effect that carries the truth far and wide. Subscribe today and help reshape the narrative. Available on the web, Android, and Apple.
And right now, we delve into the implications of the reported mega security deal between the United States and Saudi Arabia. And joining us now for it is Jerusalem Center for Public Affairs Research Fellow and journalist Yoni Ben Menachem. Yoni, according to the New York Times, the U.S. and the Saudis are negotiating a mega security deal that even Prime Minister Netanyahu is calling off historic proportions. How realistic is it to reach a deal between Washington and Riyadh?
I think it's a very problematic agreement. It's a long way, in my estimation, until there will be such an agreement which include also Israel in it. This, according to what is out in the media reports, the closures or the special items in this agreement still need to be approved by the Senate or the Congress in the United States. And of course, this will raise the objection of the Republicans and also of the Democrats to some of the items. And as for Israel, I don't think that it's such a big success for Israel, even though Saudi Arabia is the biggest Shiite leader of the Islamic world. Still, it poses a lot of dangers for Israel. First, the uranium facilities, enrichment uranium facilities that Americans will give the Saudis. And the second thing, Israeli agreement and commitment for independent Palestinian states in the Judea and Samaria. You know, Judea and Samaria is the strategic depth of Israel, and it's the buffer zone of Israel from on the eastern border. We also, what happened in Gaza Strip after Hamas took over and build a terrorist entity in Gaza, which is attacking Israel with missiles and tunnels. And now the situation of the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank is deteriorating, and all estimation is that Hamas has a good chance to take over. So what do we want to do? We want to establish another terror states in Judea and Samaria. This is really what Israel needs.
Yoni, you're mentioning Israel. Let's go more into depth over there. According to the report, as you're saying, Israel would get normalizations with the Saudis in exchange for what some consider to be massive concessions, no annexation, settlement freeze, and transfer of territory in Area C. Does the Israeli government details, are we even a party to the talks?
Of course, we are a party to the talks, but what President Biden is actually doing is putting a tag price for Netanyahu. He's telling him, dismantle your right-wing government, bring into the government Gantz and Lapid, and also agree for independent Palestinian states in the 67 lines with East Jerusalem as its capital. Does this sound reasonable? I don't think that Netanyahu will buy this thing. He cannot do that. If he does that, the coalition will collapse and we will go to elections.
Yeah, we'll definitely have a problem there. Now, the U.S. reportedly would enter into a NATO-like security agreement with the Saudis. Would you foresee Israel being a party to this new Middle East security pact?
Israel is part of the equation, but I don't think in these terms it's good for Israel to do such a thing, to take so many risks. For what? That there will be a train going from Israel to Saudi Arabia. With all respect, we're talking about the existence of Israel, and we cannot allow an independent Palestinian state, another terrorist states in the Judea and Samaria, and to open another front with our enemies in the West Bank. I think this is a very dangerous thing.
Yoni Ben Menachem, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
In a recent survey by the Pew Research Center, Americans expressed overwhelming support for the critical security and defense relationship between the U.S. and Israel, and with 94% considering it crucial. Some of the other findings were fairly surprising. In a recent survey conducted by the Pew Research Center, Americans have highlighted the significance of their alliance with Israel. The poll, focusing on perceptions of U.S. allies and rivals, revealed that an overwhelming 94% of respondents view the security and defense relationship between the U.S. and Israel as crucial. Additionally, 79% of Americans recognize the importance of shared values between the two countries, and 68% emphasize the significance of economic ties. Surprisingly, while the majority saw Israel's security ties with the U.S. as essential, the survey revealed that Israel ranked third as the top U.S. ally. The United Kingdom took the top spot with 22% of respondents considering it America's closest ally, followed by Canada at 6%. Israel received 4% of the vote, with 6% stating no country and 3% mentioning Germany as the top ally. 8% of Republicans and Republican-leaning independents were more likely to name Israel as a top ally, compared to 1% only of Democrats and Democratic-leaning independents. Interestingly, older Americans were more inclined to consider both the UK and Israel as America's top allies. The poll was conducted among 10,329 American adults in late May and early June of 2023, and it has a margin of error of 1.4%, as these findings come at a time of tense relations between Israel and the United States amidst the ongoing judicial reform.